So I want to start out today by asking a question. And I'm really curious to see how you respond. And I'm wondering that if someone randomly came up to you in the street and was just like, hey, what are you doing on earth? Why are you here? Do you have an answer readily available? Do you know how you would respond? Mm-hmm. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have a response. Okay. Let me hear. How would you respond to that question?
I am here to learn about love.
To learn about love.
The giving and receiving.
Okay. Anyone else? Who else raised their hand? How would you respond to that question?
I gave from my mom's stomach.
Your mom's stomach. Yeah.
To grow,
I'm here to worship God.
You're to worship God. Yeah.
to grow and live the best life I can.
Okay. Yeah.
I am here to enjoy my life.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
I'm here to discover my true identity as a part of being part of God.
I got another one.
Yeah.
I'm here to live by the golden rule.
To live by the golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like us in the spiritual community, we're probably a little bit more equipped to answer those questions, huh? We've been thinking about that probably for a while. But if you asked some random Joe Schmo on the street, hey, what are you doing here? Why are you on earth? They'd probably initially say something like, well, I have a job, I have a mortgage, I have responsibilities, I have kids, all this kind of stuff. But then what if you were like, no. Deeper than that. What if you didn't have that stuff? I mean, you're composed of trillions of cells, you're this whole universe in and of yourself. You have this biological supercomputer in your head, you're totally self-aware. You're this living, breathing miracle. What are you doing with it? And if the person was honest, in fact, if most people were honest, they'd probably say something like, you know what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Did I choose to be here? Did I choose to be a human? I don't know. I'm just here going through this experience. I don't know. And this whole human experience, it's interesting, right? It's interesting. I mean, it starts off and there's this huge void, and there's this veil where we don't remember anything, okay? And then all of a sudden we're born. It seems out of nowhere. We exist. And then we go through all these stages of human development. We go through infancy, we go through childhood, we go through adolescence, have some terribly awkward experiences during puberty. I know I did. And then we make it into adulthood. And then by the time we get into adulthood, we're kind of supposed to have things figured out at that point a little bit, right? We're kind of supposed to know what we're doing here. But I feel like even though that's the general expectation, there's still kind of this general feeling that most of us have deep down that we're just kind of fumbling our way through life.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that? You're just kind of fumbling your
Sure
way
do.
through?
Yeah.
I feel like that. I felt like that when I woke up this morning. I was fumbling my way out of bed. Gotta get up early to get here, from this,
Yeah.
And so most of us, we're just kind of doing our best to feel our way through different situations, feel our way through different relationships, and we're just kind of hoping for the best, And then we go through ups, and we go through downs, and we go through ups, and we go through downs. And when we go through one of these ups, we feel like we're doing it on our own accord. We feel like we're achieving something, right? That we have good karma, that God is rewarding us and giving us this nice little gold star, right? And then when we go through the downs, we take it just as personal, don't we? And we think that God is punishing us. We think that we've done something wrong, we've made some terrible mistake, or that there's some gigantic error in the universe, and for some bizarre reason, we just happen to be right in the middle of it, right? And then we have another up and another down and another up and another down, and it kind of goes on. And for most people, these ups and downs are just kind of random. There's no real rhyme or reason to them. We just kind of go through them. And so today, what I'm going to propose is that the ups and downs of our life might not actually be as random as most people might think. And that there's actually a grand design operating through the ebb and flow of our experience. And I'm also going to propose that life itself, as in our experience of it, the trajectory of it, I'm going to propose that life itself is a living, breathing organism. Okay? And that the ups and downs of our experience, it's like a pulse. It is a heartbeat. It is the inhalation and the exhalation of this great cosmic breath. And in quantum physics, they talk about how the most fundamental units of matter, it's essentially vibrating energy. It's vibration, right? And so everything on the deepest level has this fundamental wave-like quality to it. And so this universe operates in this fractalized sort of matter, which means as above, so
below.
As above, so below, right? So that means that the trajectory of our life also has a wave-like quality to it, okay? And in order for this wave to maintain its structure, there's a certain set of universal laws, there's a certain set of codes, and there's a certain set of algorithms that help to preserve the integrity of that wave that we call life. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about these deeper patterns, these deeper codes that are expressing themselves through the trajectory of our life experience. So the question that follows this is why? Why should we care? Who cares if we know about these deeper patterns? Ignorance is bliss, right? Ignorance is bliss. Well, if we can address these deeper underlying patterns that are playing out through our experience, then it helps us to see our life through a much larger context. And thus we can see the value in every single experience that we are having. So rather than getting lost and sort of falling victim to the ebb and flow of life, we can relate to our experience with much more understanding and empowerment, which basically puts us into a place of evolving consciously rather than unconsciously. And this puts us into a whole new arena, a whole new paradigm of co-creating with God. So to put it in kind of a simpler way, understanding these deeper codes helps us to access, it helps us to see life through the higher mind, okay? Or what my partner likes to call ego mind. You guys ever heard that term, ego mind? Yeah, I've never heard that. Actually, we were talking on the phone the other day, and she was talking about some stuff going on in her life, and I pointed out this pattern that was kind of repeating in her life, And I pointed it out, and I offered some feedback, and she was like, wow, you're really good at seeing through ego mind. And I was like, ego mind? That's a cool term. I'm going to use that. So I'm using that now. So today's talk is going to be kind of like an exploration in seeing life through ego mind. Okay? And so moving forward, there's 3 basic codes, 3 basic algorithms, okay, that I'm going to be addressing. And these patterns, these codes, these algorithms, when we can recognize them, they kind of serve as a gateway to seeing life through the higher mind, through the higher self, okay? Gives us a much higher perspective, all right? Does this make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get into this first code, this first pattern, okay? And you'll be able to recognize these in your life, okay? So this first code is that chaos always reorganizes itself into a higher form of order. Chaos always reorganizes itself into a higher form of order. So the code is this, okay? You have order, you have balance, you have cohesion, and it's nice, it's peaceful, it's harmonious. And then it gets boring. It gets stale. You know what I mean? You ever been in a relationship where you guys like never fight? You kind of want to like poke them a little bit just to like get some kind of growth, some